Peace, everyone. This is Akanki, and I'm the Everyday Goddess. Okay, so let me apologize right now. I look a little rough. I'm pretty tired, and I've been running ever since I got back from my Vipassana. Mm, I want to say it's a meditation thing, but I'm going to give you my account of my Vipassana 10-day silent meditation retreat. Okay, so first, yes, I went on a meditation retreat, even though I know how to meditate. It was more so something that I just wanted to try and see. I'm not going to knock anything out, that I have never tried. And I guess for 2019, I wanted to start off traveling and start doing something new. So there you have it. I'm open to different things, so it's not a problem. All right, so we get into the Vipassana. First, I didn't do a whole lot of research on it because I wanted to be non-biased. I mean, I know the techniques that I use for meditation, and I wanted to go and really look into something, to see if maybe I can get deeper. Why not, right? I mean, okay, Vipassana. It is a method, a technique of meditation that you do in complete silence. Now, this was attractive to me because I live somewhere where it's noisy and I want quiet sometimes and I want to be alone. So this was perfect for me. Okay, so that's one of them. And it's about self-realization, which everything is pretty much about self-realization, know thyself. So I figured it was perfect. And plus, maybe I can learn some new techniques, right? That's the intention. Okay. Alrighty. So let me get into it. The Vipassana is actually the closest one to me, excuse me, is located in Georgia, South Georgia, because I live in Northwest Florida, which is Jacksonville. All right. So it was about an hour and a half drive. Drive was great. Um, it was interesting because it was 45 minutes on the highway, 45 minutes on these back roads of to nowhere. So I figured, okay, it's a secluded area. It's going to be pretty decent. You're far enough away from the world. It should be cool, right? All right, so I'm going to take you on a step-by-step journey of my Vipassana experience. All right, here we go. All right, so with any long drive, I always listen to a lecture. So this time I was listening to Panic's Baphomet Symbolism for Dummies or something like that. All right, well, only got through like 45 minutes of it because after I got off the highway, when you go into the boonies, you know what happens. You have no cell service. So I only got a little bit, but I will say that the little nuggets, the little reminders in that 45 minutes, they stood out like a sore thumb while I was there, which was like hella interesting. All right, so I make it to the, and I have notes because it was so much stuff that I just kept forgetting things, and I'm like, oh, this actually links with this, and this goes with this. You know how that go. So anyway, I drive up there, and the drive was great. Even the back roads part, it was cool. Get to there, turn in, and I'm trying to take in everything that's around there and just how they have it set up. As soon as I get there, some impatient person pulls in behind me in a little, oh, what the heck they call him, Mini Cooper. And he's riding my ass. Like, why are you riding my ass down the dirt road? So now I'm like, okay, am I late? I know I'm like an hour and a half early for the final registration. So why are we rushing? We're going to be here for 10 days. Anyway, I ain't trip. I said, all right, I'm going to chill. Because I really, okay, can I express this to you? Don't do people. I don't do ego. I don't do you think you, just go the fuck on. Just do what you got to do. All right. So what was interesting was this was a man, and I was under the impression that this particular retreat was women only for this particular section. No, I was wrong. What happens is they have men and they have women, but they segregate them. Okay? So you're on the grounds together, but you're not allowed to look at each other. You're not allowed to walk in the same space until you go to the meditation hall. Now, this could have been my ignorance, and that's fine. I don't care, but he was just really aggressive, and I was like, if you don't get off my ass on this dirt road, like, seriously. Anyway, so I let him, I park and let him go do his thing, and I get out the car, and as I'm walking, now mind you, it's cold, and we have to take our shoes off at the door because that's the practice. No big deal. I noticed that I'm just looking at the mannerisms of people. Everybody puts their shoes right at the door. Like, oh my goodness, what's going to happen if my feet actually touch the asphalt and my shoes are maybe a yard away from the door? I don't know. But when I walked up to the door, I realized everybody had to take the shoes off. I purposely changed my shoes so it was some slides, so it wasn't a big deal. But there was this little lady who walked up before me, and she's rushing to get in the door. Because I guess it would have been a problem if I walked in first. Now, she's trying to get her husband's attention, and she's standing in the door. And I've moved over to the side and taken my shoes off, so I'm walking to get in the door, and she got a problem with me walking in the door first. She had to stop and go get her husband, so I walk in. Do you know that lady walked in? And I keep a distance between me and the person in front of me because I'm not going to breathe on your neck while I'm standing behind you. She weaseled her way in between me and that woman. I guess in her mind, I was here first, even though So we already started. Yay for humans. Woohoo. All right. Well, we haven't started not speaking yet. We're just at the registration phase. And let me tell you the oppressive energy just in the registration. Well, when I got out the car, I realized, I was like, man, I'm the only guy that's here. Because, okay, here's my thought process on this. You create entities. Every thought creates an entity, right? The I'm fat entity, the I can only relax if I get high entity. Every thought you have creates an entity. So that's a spirit that carries with you. So why not go into this experience with a high frequency? I'm the only motherfucking goddess here. Nah, what you gonna do? So that's what I was thinking, right? Okay, so I fill out my little registration paperwork. They have you doing all this, why are you here? What have you done before? I guess getting the idea. And later I'll tell you what that really was. I get my room. So I go to my room. And it's set up like barracks, when you walk in, on the right, there's 4 bunk beds. And to the left, there are 2 doors. Those 2 doors had bunk beds in them as well, but they were, closed off. And then there's a vanity washing area and then the bathroom, right? All right, so I'm in the open. All right, so I'm like, all right, this is a test because I don't really like that. But this is a new experience and I'm open to it, right? Okay, well, I'm on the bottom bunk of one of the sets and I just get in there, drop my stuff, and I immediately just lay my hands on the top bunk and say, ain't nobody gonna be up here snoring, rolling over, and making my stay uncomfortable. So we put that down there. All right, supposed to leave all your magic and all that shit alone. Well, guess what? I am that shit, so it comes naturally. Anyway, okay, so I'm the first one there. Now, after I had done this, saying that nobody's going to be on top of me on the top bunk, I thought about it. Well, maybe I should really put it out there that nobody will be in this motherfucker at all. But then I was like, no, because then I'm not really getting an experience, am I? Because I'm supposed to be here to experience some new shit. Alright, fine. So I just let it go. And then in walks, I guess you would call it a roommate, cellmate, or whatever they called it. And she was pretty cool. we said hey, and she went and saw her room. She happened to be in one of the enclosed rooms. No big deal. I went ahead and unpacked my stuff and was kind of just getting my head together. And then there was somebody else who came in. I ain't paying no attention to her. But as I was leaving, I ran into her. Come to find out, we had the same name, just spelled differently. And that was interesting because I don't really have a common name. But the thing that got me about her was she was loud. Coming, humming and all this stuff. And I'm like, yo, shut up. Now, I know we have 3 more hours before silence or however long it was, but just no, okay? And something said she gonna be the one that's gonna really, like, test your ass. So anyway, I ain't worried about it. I went on to get something to eat. Okay, so let me tell you how they do this. You get 2 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and then, like, fruit in the evening. The reason for that is because when you meditate, it's good to have a quarter of your stomach empty so that you're not too full. For various reasons, you can look that up. I had no problem with that. It's just an adjustment, or what have you. So I go up there, and me and one of the girls from the room, or the girl from the room, the initial girl, we're in there talking and everything, and she tells me that she's been to Vipassana 3 times. 3 times, 3 different countries. Asia, India, and here. What? So I'm thinking, all right, either this is the shit or this ain't shit. Okay? Because there's, it's the place of duality, right? Okay, whatever. So I took that, put that little nugget right here. People start filing in. I meet up with some other people and everything. And my thought process is still, I'm the only guy that's here. So what was funny was, I ain't never been there before. But everybody walking up to me asking me, what is this? What is that? What's the other? I don't know. One woman told me, this sister said, you just look like you've been here. You look like you know. I was like, look here. I am just trying to be really incognito. And I don't know shit. Go ask them people over there. I don't know. So that was the first thing. The second thing was the energy of these women was like they was online. Now, I don't know if you've never been online. I pledged a sorority, and just the feeling of nervousness and okay, are they going to accept me? Or am I going to get chosen type shit? It was like that. And I'm like, what? So I'm just tripping already because I'm like, all right, we are in the first 2 hours and I ain't gonna front. I'm like, let's see how this goes. So there's this young girl that I'm sitting next to, and she was really bubbly, and she was from South Florida. She was from Tampa. And we get to talking, and she's, talking about her and her boyfriend are there together to have this experience. And I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. Because I thought, maybe my husband might want to do something like this on the surface. We shall see. Because my son told me, well, when you go, see how it is, and then I'll go. And I'm like, cool, you want to do this meditation? No problem. I'm open to it. Cool. I'll be the guinea pig. All right. Well, we part ways. I go chit chat because we can't talk for another 10 days, right? Might as well get it all out. And then I get back to my room. Oh, lo and behold, my little buddy that I'm eating with is my roommate. So I'm like, oh, cool. We don't have to do the formalities because I already know your name. I already talked to you. We good. Okay. So we have a little conversation because come to find out, the 2 people that were in the rooms were returning students. And the roommate told me, or told us, a little tidbit and said, well, I'm just going to let you know the first time I did this, on day 4, I was ready to go because I thought it was a cult and they were trying to brainwash me. Now, I kind of laughed it off, but I was like, there's a reason why she's saying this shit, right? Okay. So, yeah, I kept that little nugget too. So we've finished eating. And now it's time for us to go to this group meditation. Now, let me tell you how this is set up. Group meditation, all of the men are on the left. And I think that's by design, right? The left brain, that's the active brain, that's the male side of the brain, right? And, all the women are on the right. Divine feminine side. Okay, so I'm getting the energy here. I'm seeing, okay, so you divide the energy up and then you bring it back together for this group meditation. And it's set up in the style of, you got your cushions and the little pillows under it or whatever, and you had your little name tag, and that's where you're going to be meditating. And we sit, so everybody comes in, and some people have their chairs. They could have been returning students that knew to bring yoga chairs and all this shit, because that shit is uncomfortable. I'm sorry, it's fucking uncomfortable. I don't meditate that way, so it was new. And I understand that poses are meant to be uncomfortable to, get you to focus and bring out certain things. I get it. But I ain't there to be miserable. Okay? First day I did it. I dealt with it. So we're going to get into the first day. All right. So we're in there and they play this recording. And it's by the guy Goenka. And he's talking, he has a very heavy Indian, or not Indian accent, but he's Indian. So he has an accent. And, he is talking about this certain technique that he wants us to focus on, which is on it's like right here, right? Okay, so we're focused on the area really right here. So every time he gets on it, he's like, observe the air going in through the nostrils. So I'm like, okay, so I'm supposed to breathe. And I'm supposed to, focus on this area right here. All right, no problem. So we do that for a little while. Then he comes back and he's talking about how you have the 5 precepts. All right, cool. Now I remember looking at them a little bit because they do have information on the website. But hearing him as I'm sitting in this place with all of these people, number 1 precept, morality. Oh, goodness. So I'm supposed to be more human. Okay, so now my shit is fighting. It's like, bitch, what the hell? Nah, this ain't even about what you about. You know, and I'm like, well, I just want the technique. I don't give a fuck about all that stuff. I can filter that shit out. But then he goes on. He said the whole point is that we're drilling down past, I guess the ego. You want to get past the surface. So he's got my attention again. No problem. And it's going to take some time. The more you do this, it'll be like pus coming out of you, which is what happens when you meditate and you're working on healing. I like to call myself the lady of like 1,000 cuts, because I kept cutting until the shit ain't hurt. It didn't bother me, and I realized it wasn't my fault. It was my path, So I'll get it. I got that part. That was fine. But then dude was like, purification of the mind. Now, for my practice, purification of the mind is not filtering in the negative thoughts, because we are every day, we're forced pretty much, it's just pushed on us negative thoughts. It's not a whole lot of positive things that we think about. We think about the negative first. All right. So that's what I'm thinking. No. Oh, I was so wrong. Purification of the thoughts is pretty much no sex. Don't think about sex. And as soon as he said that, my pineal and pituitary started having a fuck party. All of a sudden, all I can hear is Cassidy and R. Kelly singing Hotel. Room Key or whatever the fuck the song is called. Girl, you want to come to my hotel? And I'm sitting there like, oh my goodness, it's like in stereo. I'm like, oh, this is going to be something else. Because a reminder from that Remember I told you I was watching that lecture with Panic, and it was like the pituitary and the pineal. It's like the dick and the pussy, and that helps. That was what has you having these sexual thoughts all the time. Well, it went online like bing, because it was no joke after that. Then he says, purification of the mind, no alcohol, no outside substances. So what? I got my drink and my two-step, my drink. I mean, it was live in my head, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm just trying to breathe through my nostrils and observe. Okay. So that was the first time. The other thing was that position was uncomfortable as hell. And every time I got into a position, something fell asleep. And I'm like, okay, this ain't gonna work for me, because I normally meditate. I can meditate sitting up, but I need a back support. Okay, so maybe my Western hips, or maybe I'm out of shape. Call it what the fuck you want. It just was uncomfortable, and I didn't want to do it. All right, so I had to handle that. All right. Well, made it through that first thing with all the musical selections that were going through my mind, and we get back to the room. Now, mind you, we're not talking anymore. The energy has changed drastically on the whole grounds. It's like now it's one of mourning, and it was like of loss, and it was crazy. So I'm bebopping, because I'm got my drink and my two-step. And get back to the room. I had decided that I was going to take my shower at night, because I wanted to get all the energies from the day off of me. So I get my shower and I get in the bed, and I'm like, okay, day 1 is done. Only 9 more to go. And as I'm laying there, kind of decompressing and thinking about what happened through the day and everything. And then it happens. My, I guess you want to say roommate, started to hold what I call the Berenstain Bear Hibernation Convention. Yes, what I'm saying is she snored. And she snored louder than any man or men I have ever been around in life. Yes. So, now I'm laying there, eyes wide open in the dark, looking at her, and I'm like, fuck that shit. Damn this seeing reality as it is shit. I'm about to change this shit. So I'm like, bitch, roll over, roll over, roll over, roll over. Bitch, roll over. And she rolls over. So I'm like, yes, success. But no, she snores louder. So all night, I am trying my damnedest to just breathe through the nostrils and observe. Let me tell you how hard that shit was. Okay. When I finally drifted off, I have this dream that I'm at a frat party. And I have on this see-through pink bra. Now everybody's like, well, why the fuck a see-through pink bra? Because I actually went to a frat party with a see-through pink bra on. It was a bra and panty set that I loved. And I had a shirt on top of it. Yeah. But I had a good time at that party. It was a good thing. And so much for not thinking about sex. It was a highly sex-driven thing, but I wasn't necessarily trying to go fuck. So anyway, that's something that came through that night in between the snores, because I really didn't get any sleep. Okay. So I think this time I woke up at 2:57 the next morning. I think I had slept for maybe 3 hours, if that. I ain't really sleep. And I wake up to this song playing. Phyllis Hyman, I can't take this. I can't take this being. All I could hear was that all alone. But it wasn't about being alone. It was that I can't take this. And I'm like, damn it. Phyllis is screaming in my ear. She was screaming for a minute. And I'm like, okay, what? How am I supposed to do this for 9 days? I'm going to die. All right. So the next thing was pretty much the schedule. The schedule was that you get up and meditate in the morning. You have your breakfast. You go back to meditating, or you rest, then you meditate, and then you go to group meditation. Come out of that, you go eat lunch, you go meditate or rest, and then you come back for the night meditation. So you're pretty much meditating like 8 to 10 hours out the day. Okay, so now we are getting to the, it's silence. And people, when they're silent, I don't know about anybody else, but I could hear them. And there's a whole lot of pus oozing, because it's like, why did I do this? And how did I let this person do this for so long? Like, I'm hearing this shit and I'm like, oh, great. Okay, well, this isn't going to work too well, because I'm over here bebopping to the fucking songs in my head. And everybody else is over here like, it's solemn. It's just sad. And I get it, and I'm not knocking anybody for having this experience, because like I said, I'm the lady of 1,000 cuts, and I've gone through it before. Oh. Okay, I apologize. Okay, so I've gone through it before, and it's an experience. So I'm totally compassionate about that, right? But it felt like I was imprisoned. So I'm just like, okay, we got 9 more days of this. Now, I actually set up an interview with one of the teachers, because I'm like, well, if I'm going to get anything out of this, I have to be comfortable, at least in my in my meditation. So I just went and talked to her, and I said, I am uncomfortable. So then she comes to me and she says, well, this is supposed to open you up, and it's going to be uncomfortable because you're releasing. I said, I get that. I've been through that before, the releasing, but I can't release because I can't even get into the meditation because I am uncomfortable. All right. Well, she says, well, how about we do this? There's a little alcove behind you. Because all I asked for was to be able to sit on the wall, just to prop my back up. She said, well, we'll just get you a chair, and you can have your own section. So I have my own little section, with my mat, and I got a chair. So I'm like, all right, Spirit, you doing the damn thing. Appreciate you. Create my reality, right? All right. So I get in there, and I'm cool, and we're, breathe, observe, through the nostrils and all that stuff. So, I'm breathing through the nostrils, and, excuse me, and then all of a sudden, what happens? Snores. The same Berenstein Bear Convention snores, because my wonderful roommate fell asleep. So I'm like, you have got to be kidding me. Like, I didn't get no sleep last night. Now you coming in here? Oh my God. Like, this is killing me. So I really tried to hold myself together. And I just was thinking, all right, how can I go beyond this? Because I'm really trying to figure out if it's my ego that's getting irritated, or is this really like some bullshit? Like, I'm really trying to decide it. Because there was another thing that the guy said was, we have to understand the difference between intellect and experience. And I'm like, hell yeah. And I understand that totally. So is my intellect saying, bitch, you don't need to be here. You better than this. You done this already. Or is the experience of me saying, okay, this is distracting, more distracting than where you came from. And yeah, it's a free experience. And yeah, all you worried about was not having to cook for 10 days. But is it worth your sanity? Because you seem to be going crazy. Okay, so I get through that. So now I'm in planning, devising mode. And then it was just like, I ain't gonna front, it was downhill from there. Straight up downhill from there. Because how can I put it? It was more so, it was a process of not enlightenment. It was self-realization, understanding thyself, which was fine. But the method for me was pulling me down to being more human. Thus, heavy, because I kept feeling heavy. Every time I left the room, I felt heavy. Every time I walked into the meditation room, heavy. I'm supposed to be feeling lighter, but getting around all this energy, and it was just, when I came home and explained this to my people, it was like, yo, that was a cult. And I ain't putting no labels on shit, but okay, I could see how folks would say that. The energy was heavy. Okay. So I'm not aching anymore because I got a chair, right? So I am able to go in and have deeper realizations. Okay, first day, I'm lying. I ain't getting no sleep. I've realized I was fucking tired and I slept. It was just like, whew, I finally got some sleep. So then I tried to go back to the room, maybe relax, maybe meditate there. Because the roommate was in there and she would fall asleep, and then that was a no-go. So I just walked the grounds, because you can walk when you're during the resting period or whatever. I walked the grounds, and then I realized that everywhere I go, I feel like I'm being followed. You know how you have an energy signature that you leave. And I was just taking notice to those around me. And every time I did something, it seemed like somebody did it too. Case in point. Remember the shoes I was telling you about? All right, so we got about 30 women, and everybody wants their fucking shoes right by the door. I mean, to the point where they take them off and they're fumbling over them just to open the door. Well, I noticed that there was a shoe rack on the other side of the wall. No shoes on. I mean, when I say no shoes, there weren't even shoes in front of it. So I put my shoes on the shoe rack. Okay. And I'm thinking, all right, cool. So we go to that meditation. We go to this meditation 2-3 times. Wouldn't you know? When I come back to put my shoes up there for our next meditation, somebody not only starts putting their shoes on the shoe rack, but in the exact same spot that I put my shoes in when I initially started on the shoe. I said, all right, fine. Whatever. Is this my ego, or am I really noticing these motherfuckers is trying to be in my energy? Whew. All right. So, and then I say, all right, well, I can't get no fucking sleep in my room. I can't meditate in my room. So I'm going to take my little handy dandy yoga mat, and I'm going to find this all off the beaten path place to just lay on the mat. And I do. It's like not on the path. Like, why would anybody walk here other than to be alone? Yeah, people walk past me. Why are you back here? I'm like behind a building, behind a pond, on the side of a bush. It ain't nothing but me, the birds, the woodpeckers, and they making noises, and somebody ends up walking past me. What in the whole fuck is going on? All right. I ain't gonna trip. I'm just gonna go and meditate and act like I'm in the only world, because I'm the only guy that's here, right? All right. All right. So now that we have gone to our second group meditation, I decide I can't take this. I can't be here for the next 9 days and not sleep. So I go to the teacher again and I say, hey, I haven't slept. My roommate snores. And it's a notorious type thing. It's terrible. She said, oh, we can get you some earplugs. Oh, shit. So now I'm excited. I'm feeling like, yes, there's light at the end of the tunnel. Woo-hoo.